Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for Election Day 2016. And if you can't remember what date it was, it's November 8th, 2016. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and I'm joined, as always, by head coach Gary Dunn. On today's show, we're going to talk about last week's PSAC West Division clinching win against Edinboro, take a look at this upcoming week's opponent, which is Kutztown, for the PSAC Championship, and look back at scores, standings, rankings, and talk about everything that pertains to Vulcan football. And Coach, welcome once again. Great weather and a great win on Saturday.
Great to be back for another week. Our kids played extremely well. Really proud of their efforts, and time to move on to the next one.
And I tell you what, I mean, I know every coach will say that in the summer, you want to play meaningful football late in October, early November, and hopefully into December. And that's what last Saturday, this past weekend, was a meaningful game against a surprising Edinboro team. And the winner of that game on Saturday would ultimately represent the West in the PSAC Championship game that week, or this coming weekend. And I tell you what, that was a hard-fought first half, but your team once again faced the adversity. Third time this year, a top 25 team has come into Adamson Stadium.
Yeah, great to have all those guys coming into Adamson Stadium. Thought we had a great crowd. Was appreciative of the students that came out. But our guys have put themselves in a great position by how they've worked all year from the beginning of training camp until now. They've grinded it out. I don't think we've had more than maybe one or two practices where I didn't think were really good practices, and it's the position they put themselves in. So we're excited for them. We've got a tough opponent in Kutztown coming in here this weekend, so we got to have another great week of work. And
going into this past Saturday's game against Edinboro, it was kind of hard to, as a fan and just talking around the station, to kind of get a feeling for the game, because Edinboro last year didn't win a game, had a big turnaround, and it's hard to tell what has changed. They had a pretty prolific offensive attack, and I thought your team did a great job. It was close in the first half, but the one thing that's so impressive about your team and your staff this year is the adjustments you make on the fly during the game. And it seems like one or a couple times this season a team will get a few plays, get a drive or two, and then adjustments happen, and then it's all California.
Yeah, I think early in the year you can look back at last year's record, but Edinboro had won 8 games, and we're playing extremely well, putting a lot of points up on the board, creating a lot of turnovers and a lot of sacks and tackles for loss. And I just thought our guys really had a great week of practice, but we're really locked in, especially early. Edinboro did a nice job early with some of the defensive things they were doing, some things they haven't shown on film, and they were personnel us a little bit. They were matching up with our skill guys, and then bringing in big people, and we had our big people in. They had a nice plan, but I think our guys just understand that we keep to the process. It's about us. It's about doing what we're supposed to do, and eventually we kind of broke it open there. Couldn't talk enough about the defensive effort. Our defensive coaching staff had a great plan, and to hold that quarterback and those receivers to under, I think, 200 yards passing was a tremendous day for our defense, and really proud of their efforts.
Well, in that game in the first half, it was close. I believe it was 14-7. And there were 2 key points to me watching the game, and I'll see if you agree. In that first half, they kind of changed the entire complexion of the game. Edinboro, after they scored, their sidelines up into it, they're getting into it, then the kickoff happens, and I don't know who on your special teams made the block, but there was a block in open field that basically their entire bench sat down after that. The bench, your bench, the crowd, everything got energized. And after that, I think you guys scored, and then on the next possession, Jordan Bowman had an interception that you guys scored right before the end of the first half.
Yeah, 2 big plays, and they've done that all year on their kickoff team. They really create a lot of excitement on their kickoff team. They do a great job of on all their special teams. Their head coach was a former special teams coordinator at the Division I level, so he has those guys really well coached on special teams. But that's kind of who they are. They get their kickoff team a lot of energy, and we talked to our guys. Coach Wilson did a great job of kind of let that get us some energy too, and it was Vince Alameni that threw the big block, and we were really close to Gary Brown was really close to splitting that for a touchdown. So that kind of did get our guys going a little bit. Jordan, I thought the key to the game was really the big play in the game was Jordan Bowman's big interception, getting us down to the 2-yard line, and that put us up, I believe, 14-7. And then the possession at the end of the half to get us 21-7 at halftime, knowing we're getting the ball back in the second half was huge as well.
And I believe you scored on the first possession of the second half to pretty much, it didn't seal the deal, but it went a long way to sealing the deal. And that's something, all this season, I'm talking to some of my friends are seeing, because they're seeing a lot of the scores, they're putting up, your team's averaging 52 points a game, leading the conference. You're leading the conference both in scoring offense and scoring defense. But people are saying, oh, you guys must have a lot of 80-yard passes, runs, and you do have those. But it seems like what your team does a great job is keeping the ball, moving it down the field, finishing off possessions either with touchdowns or field goals, or in the times you don't score, your special teams and defense are keeping their team winning the field position battle.
Yeah, I thought the first drive of the second half was big, and we talked about halftime to our guys about playing with a little more pace, getting lined up and executing. And that doesn't mean that we're going to go fast and try and throw deep balls. That means we're going to, get lined up and put the pressure on the defense to get lined up. I thought Coach Salisbury did a tremendous job staying patient on that drive, and it was a big drive for us to go up 28-7 and knowing that our defense was playing with a lot of confidence and playing really well. That was a big drive, and I thought some things at halftime that we talked about, we really did a good job, and especially the second half, but more in particular that first drive.
And how important was it? You mentioned a little bit when we started talking about the game, defense. Looking at Jake Sisson on film, he has had a great year, but your secondary really, you mentioned kept him under 200 yards. That's impressive because that guy's been throwing against everybody.
Yeah, and they've got 4 quality wide receivers that are very dangerous after the catch, and we kept everything in front of us. And I thought the best thing, and our defensive staff even, talked about it on Sunday when we met, is we tackled really well. When you're playing an offense like that likes to spread you out and get you in space, it's one missed tackle and they're gone, or it's a big play. We tackled really well, and I think that was the major thing on defense.
And another thing that was impressive to me is, it seemed like their offense was rhythm-based, 2 or 3 steps and get the ball out of there. So, your defense did a great job of getting pressure, but a quarterback like that, you're not going to get constant pressure. But, there must have been 5 or 6 tip balls from your defensive line, and that's just as good as getting pressure on a quarterback.
Absolutely. We didn't have a lot of sacks against them, but we had a lot of hurries and knockdowns. I think it was the first 3 plays, or 3 out of the first 4 plays, we were able to get to them and knock them down. And, that has an effect on quarterbacks. When you feel like pressure's there, even if sometimes it may not, you can constantly feel the pressure. Our defensive line did an awesome job. Jordan Lardani and Cam Tarver coming off the edge are 2 really good pass rushers. And then inside, Juwan Turner and Justin Baker both knocked some balls down. I think Juwan Turner had 2 of them. Almost picked one of them off. We got to work on his hands a little bit. But, just constant pressure for those guys. And part of that's the back end doing their job. Wasn't a whole lot of open windows for their quarterback, and he gets rid of the ball in a hurry. And for us to feel and get pressure was big.
And normally at this time of the show we would look at highlights, but ESPN3 had exclusive rights to the game this past Saturday, so you can still watch it on the Watch ESPN app. It's still up there. But we do have a special treat. Our good friend over in Sports Information, the grad assistant, Matt Hagee, has been doing his hype videos all week, and yesterday we chained him to a computer. So instead of highlights from Edinboro, we're going to have a world premiere of his hype video that's usually later in the week, but get people pumped up for this weekend's PSAC championship game against Kutztown. And then after the break, we're going to look back at the last time California played Kutztown, which was way back in 2013. So stay tuned. There's plenty more. You're watching The Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Since they were freshmen, every practice, every scrimmage, and every meeting was about getting this opportunity to play for a championship. So is every daydream. With all the hard work and determination set forth in this season brings a battle of East versus West, Kutztown and California for the PSAC championship. Kutztown comes in riding a 7-game winning streak. After losing their first 3 games, the Golden Bears ran the table in the East to vault them to their first title game appearance since 2011. California. Years of frustration finally came to a close as they will return to their first PSAC title game since 2009. This group has been through so much. A championship is sweetened by how far you have to go get it, and this team has traveled far to get to it. Space and time permanently adds to the tradition and the ongoing 2016 California football story.
Exciting Vulcan football is back this fall. September 10th at Cheney. September 17th versus Millersville. September 24th at Seton Hill. October 1st versus Slippery Rock. October 8th versus Indiana. October 15th at Clarion. October 22nd versus Gannon. October 29th at Mercyhurst. November 5th versus Edinboro. November 12th versus East Stroudsburg. Catch all the action on CUTV and WCAL. CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. Springdale at Jeff Morgan. Avella at California. Bell Vernon at Ringgold. Greensburg Central Catholic at Charleroi. Waynesburg at Southmoreland. Baldwin at Connellsville. Beth Center at Brownsville. Fraser at Bentworth. Bishop Canavan at Carmichael. The longest running high school coverage in southwestern PA is on CUTV.
CUTV News Center is California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecasts from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards with television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center, online all the time.
Schroeder takes a hand off the Knox. Rolls right. Quick pass. It is a touchdown, California. Paul Butler wide open. Takes a hand off the Knox. Schroeder fires one down the center of the field. It is caught for a touchdown, Kawan Scott. Throw, caution is picked off. Ball is down, kick is away, it is up, it is good. First and 10, on the concern 49, B.J. Stevens, fumble on the play, recovered by California. B.J. Stevens is on fire today. Schroeder with the throw, fires, he has a wide open Mike Williams, he waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown. 3rd and 6 from the 11. Warner back to throw. He gets hit as he throws. It is picked off! Picked off by Noah Taylor. The pick 6 for the Vulcans. Schroeder back to throw. It is caught for a touchdown. Harris back to throw, looks, fires, he has Jerry Brown wide open. Brown with the catch, he takes it to the house, touchdown, California.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show for Election Day 2016. Once again, I'm your host, Gary Smith, joined by Coach Dunn. And Coach, we just saw a little bit of film, not really going to make any impact because it's 3.5 years ago, but the last highlight you saw there was pretty notable. Gary Brown's first career touchdown pass, wearing a 81, so I guess after that year he just added the 8 and 1 and got his now familiar 9. But like I said, a team we don't play that often because they're in the East and just the way the scheduling works. But I know it's Tuesday and you've had some time to look at film. On offense, what does Kutztown do? Because they're riding an 8-game win streak. Yeah,
they're really balanced. They do a nice job offensively. They've got a tailback that's over 1,000 yards this year. They're rushing for close to, I think, 250 a game, but they're also throwing for around 200 a game. So they're averaging about 450. And a really balanced offense and really playing well right now, playing with a lot of confidence. Their quarterback, I believe, has started basically was a new starter for the win streak and hasn't lost a game yet. So very balanced offense, got a number of receivers kind of balanced at the receiver spot. They all around 35, 40 catches. No one way above anybody else. So they spread the ball around and then do a nice job with the run game. And on the defensive side, I mean, what are some of the things that California is going to have to look at? Because obviously, you mentioned on the offensive side they're good, but a team, and I was actually wrong, they're 7-3, they've won 7 in a row. But definitely a team that's winning that many in a row is doing something right. Yeah, they got a nice front four. They got a really nice defensive line that moves around and puts pressure on the quarterback. strong at every spot. And when you get into a championship game, that's how it is. You're going to have a defense that doesn't really have weaknesses. They've got a good linebacking core, and their secondary is very, very athletic. They keep things in front of them, but they do a number of things coverage-wise. They change up. They'll play a nickel package. They'll play some man coverage. They'll blitz. They'll very, very balanced defense. So we're going to really have to be on our assignments to have success.
And yesterday when I was doing some graphics in advance of the game on Saturday, I always do a graphic with, the schedule of the year. And they played a lot of close games, and they're a team that, every week it seems like when we see they win, they've come back at the end, or the Shippensburg game when they needed a win to keep their hopes for a PSAC East championship game alive. They came back and then won that game in overtime. So that's a battle-tested team.
Yeah, really playing hard. Never give up. They've had some really big wins, and like you said, the close one, the Shippensburg game we watched this morning was a really good win. Got to overtime and made some plays, and that's kind of what they've done. They've been able to make plays at the end of ball games to pull out victories. Very, very well-coached football team, sound in all three phases, and really do a nice job, and really got their kids playing hard.
And make sure this Saturday, we'll tease it once, we'll tease it at the end of the game. High noon at Adamson Stadium, PSAC championship game. It's great to hear that it's back in Adamson Stadium for the first time, and I believe in about almost a decade. So come on out, bundle up. It's going to be cold, but bundle up in red and black only. Make it a pretty good home field advantage. If you can't make it to the game, it'll be on Sports Fever. We'll have it on various locations live. You'll have to check calvulcans.com for that. CUTV also will have a tape delay, and you can listen to it live online on 91.9 FM WCAL. So plenty of ways to keep in touch with the game. But definitely, Coach, we want to see. It's been a great home atmosphere so far this season. School is still in session. It's going to be probably the first cold weather game we've had all season, but that always builds to the myth.
Yeah, I've been thrilled with our crowd. I think we had a big student crowd last week. We need your support. Not only is it for the PSAC championship, but it's senior day, and we've got a special group of seniors that have done a lot for this program, this university. So excited to have those guys and really try and send them off the right way.
And definitely, because like I said, we mentioned a lot of them throughout the show, and they've done a great job not only through their careers but also this season. This has been a fantastic ride for your team and you, I'm sure. And like I said, come on out and cheer the team on, because it's been an exciting 2016 season.
Yeah, we need your help. Let's pack Adamson. Let's rock it and join the band down there in the student section and folks in town. Let's get out and support this bunch.
And I tell you what, last week, Coach, you hosted a pizza party. And we're standing at the top row of the bleachers last week, and almost made us go out there because it seemed like such a great thing. But that's the kind of thing that's been happening. A lot of energy around the stadium. Every week that we're doing a game, it's amazing just to see, the line of people waiting to get in, because that, we're covering the game, and that excites us. I can only imagine what that does whenever your team sees that amount of people filing in to cheer them on.
Yeah, exciting. The students have really gotten behind us this year, and I wanted to do something nice for them, so provided the pizza for the students at the tailgate, and really, excited for them to be involved in our program. When we got here, we had a student appreciation practice during the spring, and we had over 300 students show up for a spring practice, and really trying to build a relationship with the student. And we want to be involved with them. There's things in organizations they're involved with. We've done some things with sorority so far, and we're going to be very, very active this spring with different groups on campus, and got some things planned out. But just wanted to give back to the students a little bit and thank them for their support.
It's definitely been an exciting season. But before we finish up the regular season, let's take a look back at this past weekend, just see how everything finished up in the scoreboard way of thinking. Gannon and Clarion in a high-scoring affair, 41-35. IUP over Mercyhurst, 31-20 in a game that was a lot closer. And unfortunately, I think what we were reading is IUP's quarterback, Lee Williams, took another injury. Not sure how that's going to affect him going on. That's something sure to work on, because that's a good team, 8-1 and 6-1 in the conference. California, as we've talked about, 52-7 over Edinburgh, and then Slippery Rock over Seton Hill, 33-21. And then moving over to the PSAC East for the final weekend of divisional play. Westchester all over Millersville, 52-0. Kutztown over Cheney, 32-6. Lock Haven over East Stroudsburg. And that was a little bit of a surprise. Not so much the result, but Lock Haven has really come on this season after a couple years of being down. But, they have 4 wins is definitely in the right direction for that team. Yeah,
we watched their game against Kutztown, and they're doing a really nice job. Got an explosive offense, and the quarterback's doing a nice job. And then you see Bloomsburg and Ship. That's always a battle. Both those teams 6-4 and 4-3, just mirror images of each other, really.
And let's take a look at how the PSAC standings fleshed out for the final week of the regular season, or the divisional play. And you see with the asterisk there, that means California has clinched, as we've talked about. We'll be hosting the PSAC Championship. And Coach, looking at these standings, I know California was picked preseason number 3. I believe Slippery Rock was 1, IEP 2. And just a tremendous job of fighting through, because that's a tough division. You see 9-0, 8-1, 8-2, 6-4, 5-5. I mean, that's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it always is. Even back when I played here in the early 90s, the PSAC West, just every week, and the rivalries that you're going to show up and play, it's a great football league, and it's something we're very proud of, and we need to keep moving forward.
And let's take a look at the PSAC East, how it finished up. Kutztown, 7-0, undefeated. They started out 0-3, had a loss to, I believe they lost to Assumption, Mercyhurst, and I'm not sure who the third team they lost to, but they rung off 7 straight wins. See Westchester, Bloom, Shippensburg, Lock Haven, Stroudsburg, Millersville, and Cheney. But again, I mean, for them to win 7 straight in any division is tough. Yeah,
it seems like so long ago, the beginning of the season, and those first 3 losses really don't have a bearing. When you win 7, you're playing with a lot of confidence, and your kids really believe, and they've done a nice job to right that after an 0-3 start. That's hard to do. That's a testament to their staff of how well coached they are.
And we have one more graphic, and Coach, you can look away, but we have to put on there the regional rankings for November 7th. I know you've always been saying that, doesn't matter. The one that matters is November 13th, but after last week, California assumes the number 1 position in the region. Shepherd and LIU Post, it seems like those 3 teams have been, since the rankings came out 3 weeks ago, have been in those top 3, and that's great to see. As you said, it's November 7th, but once again, if you're not familiar how D2 playoffs work, the top 7 teams get in. The number 1 team gets a bye through the first round. So that's what we'll say about that. Several PSAC teams
November
in there.
7th. We'll check back in on November 13th.
And that's coming up very close. I mean, we're at the end. One more regular season championship game this week, and then, every coach I'm sure says beginning of the year their goals are to win a division, win a conference, and then hopefully make the playoffs. And so far, your team has checked off one of those boxes.
Yeah, and we talked to them about it. It's about our preparation, and it's about what have we done to put ourselves in this situation. And we're going to continue to try and do those things, put the focus on California. I thought we had a great workout last night. We go up to the field about 6 o'clock in the evening on Monday. Thought we had a great workout, getting ready to run to a special teams meeting here at 11. But it's about what we do and how we do it and how we prepare. And our guys have done a great job of being locked into game plans all year. And we're going to try and keep this thing rolling as long as we can. And I think, our senior class and our leadership has really stood up for us. And they don't accept bad practices and they don't accept bad meetings. So excited to keep playing.
Now, this is the championship game. 11th game and 10th week of the season. Does anything change for preparation this week, or is it just basically, let's keep on doing what we've been doing and see you at noon on Saturday?
Yeah, we talk to our guys a lot about habits and doing it right all the time. And that's what I talked to them about before the Edinboro game, is we don't have to do anything special. We've got to do what we've done all year to put us in that situation. We do a lot of disciplined things. We do a lot of things that our guys have really bought into, that when you get later in the season and you're competing for championships, if you do it the right way all the time, you don't have to do anything special on Championship Saturday. And that's kind of what we're going to go through. We're going to prepare the same way, be detailed in our preparation, and show up Saturday and hopefully play our best game.
And there's several other games on Saturday around the PSAC. We have the schedule up here. Also, granted the championship game Saturday, but there's some key regional games with regional implications. As we saw from that other graphic, one of the ones I think is very intriguing is Bloomsburg at Indiana, because Bloomsburg's a team that's down, but they're traditionally a powerhouse, and they could go in there and play Indiana hard, as well as Edinboro Cheney. Edinboro right now sitting in the number 7 spot. So with 3 PSAC teams in the regional rankings, there are 3 games that will have implications on who makes the final 7 on Saturday.
Yeah, good schedule of games. Early in the year, the whole West went out to the East to play, and then this week they come back this way. And the West has really had some success early, so anxious to see kind of how the West and the East, lock heads this week.
Well, make sure, like we mentioned, come out to Adamson Stadium this Saturday. Wear your red, wear your black, be loud. It's going to be a fun atmosphere for the PSAC championship game. Like I said, it's been almost 10 years since it's been here, and that's a testament to your team bringing you back here. Let's show the support and rock Adamson.
Yeah, let's get out. I know the students will be out with us, so hopefully we'll have a big crowd. Our seniors really have meant a lot to this program and been through a lot. To have those guys one more guaranteed time on Adamson Stadium, hopefully we'll have a big crowd to support those guys, and we appreciate the folks that come out.
And make sure in the run-up to the game this Saturday, keep checking out KyleValkins.com. Matt Kiefer and his staff will have game notes, game stories, and everything pertaining to the game Saturday. Like I said, remember it's a noon kickoff, so I know you had to set your clocks back an hour last week, set them back another hour, get up there early and rock Adamson. Coach, we'll see you next week. Good luck this weekend, and bring home the big trophy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Our guys will be ready to go.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. And like I said, come out Saturday. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on SportsSphere's broadcast. You can check out KyleValkins.com to find out where and when you can see that game live. And also, CUTV will have tape delay. It'll be on Saturday, Sunday, and probably Monday on CUTV, and as well 91.9 FM online. So for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you next week. You're watching The Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Dun, 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 dun,